Consider this your trigger warning. The following program is strictly satire and is not meant to be taken seriously. So don't get all butthurt, you liberal snowflakes, just because we skewer your sacred cows and expose all your lies and hypocrisy. Truth hurts, and so does satire. So grab a drink, pull up a chair, and enjoy the show.
All right, everyone, welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. It is the post-Christmas, pre-New Year's broadcast. Welcome back. I hope everyone had a great Christmas, saw family, friends, loved ones, enjoyed yourselves, drank too much, ate too much, handed out presents, received presents, flipped off your asshole neighbors, had a great time all together. Anyways, I hope you had lots of political discussions around the meal table and let everyone know exactly where you stand based on real information you stored up in your head, not some pretend plastic banana bullshit that you hear on the mainstream media or some lightweight left-wing fruitcake throws out there as fact and truth. And oh boy, well, I've had one heck of a strange, wonderful, fantastic Christmas, and I missed all you guys, and I'm glad to be back. So do me a favor, thumbs up the video. You've got to be a subscriber to get into the chats, and if you've got something to say, Sunday Night Live is your show. Super chat button up here. And we also have in the description, we have CashApp, Venmo, and PayPal. So here's the deal. Any super chat of $50 or more, and I drink a scotch right there. Single malt Glenlivet. And tonight, because it's that special season, I've got out the Kraken spiced black rum. And in case anyone is motivated to do a $100 super chat, I'll have a generous, healthy shot of that. I've got a generous, healthy shot of it right here in the cup. But anyways, just wanted to have some fun, mix it up a little bit. But when it comes to the show, it is your show, and you get to decide. And we're going to kick it off tonight with Chin Music. He did a $50 Venmo super chat. He always does $50 and more. Thank you, Mr. Chin Music. And he has a bit of a rant to tell, so I want to share it with you. Everyone buckle up. Get ready. We're going to get into it for the next 2 hours here on the Prepared Mind channel. It's funny. We got our blue check mark back at X, Twitter. And then they immediately suspended the account for no fucking reason. Makes no sense whatsoever. I'm sure we're being dicked with by the usual suspects who like censorship over freedom of speech, who can't win an argument. So they choose destruction. All righty. Let's start off with Chin Music and his comments. He says, hey, so the judiciary has become a complete Bolshevik armory at this point. Blowsberg, that's what he calls him, who is Boasberg, that's what I call him, Judge Blowsberg is now ruling that we have to bring back all the scumbags we sent to El Salvador, eh? Fine, dump them on his front lawn or maybe Martha's Vineyard again. It's way past time for jersey-wearing, sports-watching men to get off their fat, beer-swilling, potato chip, statin drug-addicted asses. These lazy slobs wear jerseys from their favorite team with another man's name on the back and can't understand why their wives diddle the pool boy and have no respect for them. This shit ain't hard. Good times create weak men. Yes, I'm sick and tired of turning sideways to get past these fat slobs in the grocery aisles. God help us when the balloon goes up. We are on our own. And Chin Music closes with this. So are you, ladies. Anyways, it was a great comment. $52.23 super chat coming from Chin Music. And I think to call them Bolshevik, they're complete Bolshevik army. And you spelt the word armory. Yeah, they're firing with all their cannons from their armory, folks. I got to tell you, he's right about that. They're a bunch of Bolsheviks. There's two Bolsheviks in history. There's two Nazis in history. There's two Englands in World War II history. There's two Americas in World War II history. And I know that sounds like a shocker. They teach all of us the plastic banana, sanitized, cleaned up for the Sunday show bullshit version of history, when real history is nitty gritty nasty. The Bolsheviks were a very evil group, not just because they were communist, but because of their plans for world domination and destruction of everybody. Unbelievable. But he's right. Everyone needs to get off their ass and get in better shape. I myself am doing what I can. Actually hurt myself. I have a, what do you call it? A lower abdominal shield tear. Kind of like a hernia, except it's not a hernia. It just fucking hurts. But if I'm not pushing it, I'm not getting there. Anyways, he's right. Men will wear a jersey and root for, well, they're rooting for a uniform. And they could change uniforms if they decide another city is winning and they want to vote for the winning team. Or their favorite guy whose name is on their shirt goes to another team. So they'll root for that team and that jersey. They're completely looking past what is being done to them and their country. And we're going to talk about all of that as we go through tonight. There's a lot of stuff. I actually got some super secret squirrel information from a military intelligence person in the USMC. I got that. I've got some other information. I got some insider information on what's going on in the economy and the precious metals markets. Crazy stuff, folks. I'm going to share it all with you here. December 28th, 2025, as we close out the year. And if you've got something to say, super chat button right up there. We'll get you on the screen and make you famous. But before we go there, I think I'm supposed to have a scotch from that one, because that was Chin Music. He was going to probably give me the what for if I didn't have that scotch. Thank you, Chin Music, for the great support all through 2025 and 2024 and all the way back to the beginning when you found us and we found you and we found a good partnership. Woo! Yes, sir. A partnership that we all share, folks. That partnership is being Americans. I mean, there's no other country exactly like America. I mean, there's no other country exactly like England or Scotland. But America, as we all know, and we've got people all over the planet who got a hold of me over the holiday season. Rami Mersch, I think Bob Hunter sent a message. Lots of people from around the world. I was really excited to hear from everyone. But we all have the same spirit. And it's going to end up being a fighting spirit real quick. Thank you, Chin Music. Fat, beer swilling, potato chip, statin, drug addicted acid asses. That's lazy slobs with jerseys. Yep. And when things get nasty, there's going to be no one to protect the world. It's going to be us. And I'm going to talk about Gen Z as well here in a bit. But before we get there, I'm going to switch over to Darcy T, who did a $50 PayPal super chat to kick this show off. And that's another shot of 18-year single malt scotch right here. And this one's going to go in the 250-year anniversary shot glass from pewter.com, www.pewter, pewter.com, who did this, another flask, as well as a keychain, all with the 250-year anniversary for the Marine Corps. But this one, Darcy T, is to you. Thank you. And that is how we kick off the show. And she says, and she kind of got a good message for everyone. She said, "Good evening, John. I hope that you and your family and all of the Prepared Mind folks had a wonderful Christmas. We need to seize on any small moments of joy and happiness these days. I agree, Darcy. So she says, here is my question for tonight's zoo. Last year started with a huge bang, and not in a good way. Putting your prognostication hat on, what do you suppose will be on the horizon for the first quarter of 2026? Well, here's my prognostication hat. It's a white top hat. And let's see here. What do I see coming in the first quarter of 2026? Well, the real felt wool hat. Okay, top hat. Here's what I got. Right out the gate, we are going to have a lot of problems with our banking system. It is teetering. The banks, for their overnight lending that they do, they used to get from each other, then they refused to lend to each other. It's called the overnight repo market. And then they started going to the welfare, aka discount window, but it's welfare for corporations and banks to cover their overnight losses. And they're borrowing billions on a day-to-day basis. Banks are in big trouble. And the gold and silver question and trade war with China is going to get out of hand. We are in the middle of a trade war with China, and it is going to get nasty. We have a super chat from Juan Carlos Hassel, who did a $7 super chat. So we need to get that in there. Look for Juan Carlos Hassel if you can, Mr. Uman, and of course Jolene, the prepared mother. Okay, so let us continue. What else are we going to? We got banking crisis, first quarter. We're going to have censorship become a major issue again. We have so much fraud in this country. People are irate. This whole Somali thing in Minnesota is exploding, and it's not just one thing. It's not just one thing here and one thing there. It is everywhere. Their welfare fraud, their immigration fraud. Now we have not just their medical fraud for claiming that they're autistic and everything else. No, now they have, get this, they had a daycare, a learning center, and they misspelled the word learning on their sign. There's a young man, I think he's 23-year-old, and I'm going to call him a research journalist. He researched and went and found all of these Somali preschools that are getting government funding. They claim hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of children come to their daycare. So this guy went to every single one of them. Not one baby, not one toddler, not one pre-kindergartner. Nope, not one. And they're getting millions of dollars. Each of these daycares is getting millions of dollars to have no children there. The state is just giving them the money away. Where does it come from? Oh, yeah, your tax dollars. Federal tax money goes to these places. The fraud is off the hook. The real estate fraud, the welfare fraud, the EBT fraud. There's stores that are set up to just take people's EBT money, cash it in, and just cash out. It's fraud on top of fraud, and it's all these Somalis in Minnesota. And now they're discovering it's all over the country. Anywhere these illegals are, all they do is run fraud schemes. Same thing they did back in the countries they came from. Whether it's Somalia or Pakistan or India, they're fraud centers. It is disgusting. Now, what else? We're entering, we have a economic trade war that has to do with critical minerals and resources. The first quarter is going to be littered with that. At the end of the first quarter, we're either going to be in a conflict with China with respect to Taiwan, or it's going to be decided. It's going to be over with. And I think I should skip ahead to this one, Darcy. This is what I've got. Right. I had meeting with an active duty military intelligence person from USMC, Marine Corps. The war over Taiwan. This is what I was told. You know, I can't go double check what I was told, but I was just told the war over Taiwan has just a few months to resolve, one way or the other. So essentially, what I was told was that they're talking about it. You know, Beijing and DC. Are we going to go to war or not? Apparently, they've decided that in a few months, they're going to have an answer, whether they really want to go to war or they're going to knock their shit off. Just understand, the lie is different at every level. And at the level of the military, the game is different from the way we think of war, politics, news, negotiations. It's a different level. War with China is not imminent, but a decision between China and the U.S. is being discussed. We're going to go to war or not? Are we going to invade Taiwan or not? Weird. Yeah, I know it's a strange way to discuss things, but this is on the radar in 3 months or less. I wish I had more info, folks, or had some other details to share, but my recommendation is get prepared for that, just in case aggression becomes a more plausible outcome than backing down and just backing off. And I have kind of an accompanying piece with that. The U.S. has signed a deal with Palau. Palau is an island chain. It's a tiny island chain. It's a nation. It's independent. Palau, it's kind of like Micronesia in a way, or Saipan, right? It's a cluster of islands in the Pacific, but it's way over by China. You know, it was popularized. The Survivor TV show once used it, but now Palau has agreed to accept illegal aliens. I call them illegal aliens because that's what they are, but they're going to call them asylum seekers. So Palau has agreed. Why would they do that? Why would a tiny island, folks, a paradise in the Pacific, Palau, why are they going to bring a bunch of non-Palauan pieces of shit, Muslim pieces of shit to their paradise? Well, I can tell you why. Because 2 years ago, I was on a Marine Corps base, and I was talking to, some Marines. And what they told me was they're building naval and Marine Corps bases on the island chains again, like they did back in World War II. And it is to counter Chinese aggression in the Pacific, mainly the Western Pacific, way over on the other side. So they were 2 years ago building on Palau, because I talked to them about it. And I said, hey, I know, Palau. Anyways, so that is why Palau has agreed to this, is they do not want to be invaded and ruled by China. Now, I have a very close relationship with Palauans, and I talked to them about China. This is 10 years ago. And their problem with China is Chinese fishing boats come into Palauan waters and they overfish the reefs and they damage the reefs. They overfish, they take the turtles, everything, right? They're very destructive. So Palau goes out, they're military. They've got a couple of like Coast Guard type boats, and they kick everyone off their boats, and then they sink their boats out in the ocean, far away from the islands, of course. And then they send the Chinese home on a very small boat and say, don't come back. That's the problem they've had with China, is they're very destructive of their islands, right? So today I texted after reading that U.S. has signed a deal with Palau, and Palau has agreed to take these fucking scumbags. So I texted a member literally of their royal family, and he confirmed it, saying America is basically demanding it. They don't want the scum, but if they don't accept them, they're going to have to accept China and the threats it faces, they're going to face in the future, right? The Marines have been building bases, upgrading their Navy, everything there for defensive purposes. And that's the leverage that's being used against these very kind and friendly Palauans, these Pacific Islanders. Is, well, if you don't do what we say and accept these third world Muslim asylum seekers, then we're going to let China come and get you. You know, it's just terrible. I love the Pacific Islands. I love the people. I love their culture. I love their generosity. This woke diversity shit has to stop. There's no fucking reason. Tiny islands. What I can tell you is I don't think the Micronesians would like them. And I certainly know that the Hawaiians will feed them to the fucking sharks if they get anywhere near them. I know that down in New Zealand, the islanders there are very pissed off at all of these Muslims and Indians, the Hindis. They don't like them at all. And they're starting to do public haka dances and threatening to beat the ever-loving shit out of them. It's going to come to blows. And so this is all in answer to Darcy T's question of what's going on. What do I see? I see war in the Pacific heating up. I see this asylum crap being pushed all around the world. I see the people pushing back on it. I see troubles in the banking sector. And in addition to this aggression in the Pacific, I see aggression coming against everybody. I also predict that the European Union is going to cave, that Ukraine is going to have to surrender to Putin's terms. That's another prediction, my prognostication. I just see it coming. Anyways, Darcy T, thank you for the great $50 super chat donation. And I can feel that scotch is going to work. Thank you very much. It's your show, folks, right up there. Super chat button gets you on the screen. Mr. Uman, let's have an example of that right now as we kick off the show. We're at 230 people live. Share that internet address. Hit the thumbs up on the video. And, of course, you have to be a subscriber to get your comments in. Mr. Uman, where do we want to start? We got Big Dan, the man Erickson, with a $2 super chat donation. He says, I hope you and everyone here had a great, great holiday. Well, I had a pretty darn good holiday. I didn't get to relax as much as I wanted. I didn't get to eat as much as I wanted. I didn't get to drink as much as I wanted. But I didn't get to sleep as much as I wanted. But it was action-packed with family coming from, well, not just all over the state, but from all over the planet. So, yeah, I hope I certainly did. And Uman's waving his arms there. I don't know what that was about. He's waving me off. Wasn't me. Anyways, yeah, it very nice down here in Florida. Thank you, Big Dan. Okay, let's see. The Juan Carlos Hassel was from last week. Hey Juan, you show up? Give us a question, and we'll keep going from there. All right. We do have a problem with all of these third worlders, folks. And I think the best way to address it is to defer to someone who a lot of people, like him or not, respect him because of who he is and the amount of wealth and industry he controls. And that would be Elon Musk. He is basically bitch slapping Zoran Mamdani, the New York City mayor-elect. What I'm going to call it is the Middle Easternification of our country. That's what I'm calling this crap. But Elon Musk is calling it diversity hiring. What has happened is in New York City, Zoran Mamdani, the Muslim who wears the Jewish kippah on his head. I don't know what the fuck he is, but he wants to hire DEI people to run the New York City Fire Department. Didn't we see enough of this out in California, in Los Angeles? They had their diversity, equity, and inclusion hires, and pardon me, but fat, overweight, overage, lesbian firefighters are not going to get the job done, and they didn't. The communist woman piece of shit, Karen Bass, mayor of Los Angeles, the entire bureaucracy failed. There are reservoirs that are specifically set up to feed water in massive volumes for putting out fire. That reservoir was empty. There's no water in the fire hydrants. It's a completely separate system than domestic water. And now they want to do it to New York, and I believe Elon Musk is right. People will die because of this. That's his quote. People will die because of this. Right? This is incredible. This is Zoran Mandani. You know, this is third world thinking. The Bolshevik, right? The Bolshevism. The Bolsheviks. Bolshevism. Folks, whether it's Islam or Israel, neither want Americanism. Neither want competency, right? While both of them benefit from the destruction of our American institutions. When they destroy our institution, it makes room for their ass backward, destructive practices and terrorism. These Middle Eastern religions need to be removed. And I don't know how we're going to get there, but what I do know is there's going to be some problems, folks. And I'll be talking about that here because I have yet another prediction, not necessarily for the first quarter of 2026, but it's going to be something that starts and grows and will get to be a big deal by the end of 2026. Let's do some super chats. I don't want to leave you guys behind and get behind the 8 ball with you. Who's up next on the Prepared Mind channel? Holy cow, it is Blue Cord Devil with a $50 super chat. All right, Oliver. He's checking out. But the prepared mother, Jolene, is in the house. Ooh, I almost poured that scotch right into my coffee. Whoopsie-daisy. All right, Blue Cord. That's what happens. I got mixing up my Kraken with my scotch. Anyways, here we go. Blue Cord Devil, thank you for being a great sponsor, a great content provider, a great commenter, and just a darn right good person all the way around. Semper Fi to you, man. And down the hatch with this 18-year single malt scotch right here. Oh, yeah. This is going to push me over the edge, maybe. Woo! All right. Goodbye, 2025, and hello, 2026. Blue Cord Devil says, well, the winds are kicking up here in Southeast Ohio. Killing Wi-Fi, have to watch later. Dang it. Peace and prayers, John, Jolene, Uman, and everyone else. Watch your 6. Stay calm and stay armed. And I got to tell you, we all need to stay calm. We all need to keep our powder dry. We need to keep our heads cool and on the level, but also be watching our backs. Watching our backs. Because I think they are going to start false flagging us if they can't get their way with us. There's going to be some problems. There really is. All right. Thank you, Blue Cord Devil. And Jolene, have we got another super chat out there that we want to kick off with? And then, it's your show. You guys, a lot of times, keep hitting that button so much, I don't even get to my stuff. I got a list of stuff. But here we go. We got, hey, it's Big Dan the Man back with another $5 super chat. And he says, my 100 ounces of silver I bought at $30 an ounce. $30 an ounce has skyrocketed. Would have bought more if I knew this would happen. Who knew? Well, I'm not going to brag, Dan. I knew it was going to happen. What I did not know was exactly how long it would take, how fast it would go up, or where the top is. And I still don't know. Still don't know a lot of what's going on. Okay, Jolene. Okay. Robin out there. Robin, we've got $100 super chat from Christmas that we need to square up with you on the comments. So get a comment in, and the Prepared Mother is on the scene as a moderator in chief for tonight until Uman gets back in. Anyways, who knew? Again, I knew it was going to happen. I just didn't know when, how fast, and how high. So we now have the when part answered, Dan. Now is the when. 6 months ago, and I looked this up before the show, 6 months ago, silver was selling at $34 an ounce. Everyone thought getting to 40 was going to be impossible. Everyone meaning all the smart experts. And that's just it. You had experts all over the board. I've been listening to the experts, pseudo-experts, wannabe experts, old guys, young guys, everyone in the middle since 2016. I really started paying attention to the precious metals. 100 ounces of silver is right now, if you want to buy it, you're going to pay at least $60 an ounce more to buy silver eagles, which means, let's see, 100 times 30. Yeah, that's $30,000. So your $10,000 is now worth $30,000. Now, silver, I said, and a lot of people say, that's how you protect your wealth. Don't look at it as an investment, even though it's going to go up in nominal dollars, but will it go up in purchasing power? Well, in the last 6 months, we've more than doubled. In fact, we've tripled. If you bought at 30, you're now going to pay 90 to get the same amount of silver. So it truly has, even though, a gallon of gas is now cheaper. A gallon of milk, about the same. A loaf of bread, about the same. A dozen eggs is actually cheaper. Anyways, right now, there's a shortage in silver, right? There's a shortage. There is a serious shortage. There is a YouTube channel that is exploded into the precious metals silver arena. And it's an AI guy. They call him AI guy or China guy. And every now and then he says his name is John, which I find great. But he's AI. He speaks very clearly, and it's fascinating. He does anywhere 2 to 6 videos a day. They can be anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes per episode. And it's explaining in detail what is going on in the precious metals markets, but specifically silver. Okay, so on Friday, we closed at an all-time high for the month, the week, and it's going to be all-time high for the year, of course. But it closed at $79.50, right there. Well, a couple hours later, and late in the evening, Uman sends me a message. Hey, they lowered it to 77 and 20 cents. I was like, how can they do that? How can they lower it $2.25? That's bullshit. But they did it. The market was closed. But come Sunday morning, APMEX, American Precious Metals Exchange, and SD Bullion and JM Bullion all raised what they're calling the spot price to $81.59. So the COMEX, and then anyone who promotes the COMEX, which is the commodities exchange based out of Chicago, trading in New York, well, they lowered the silver price. Well, the people that actually sell real silver raised it to $81.59, $2 higher than what it closed at on Friday. And then for a short or brief time today, they raised it even higher. But right now it's again listed at $81.59. It is at this point incredible that it is so much higher than the COMEX. They're selling now on APMEX a 1 ounce coin, but it's the Silver Eagle, not my Marine Corps round. The Silver Eagle is selling for $13.25 higher than the COMEX. plus their premium. So the COMEX says silver is worth $77.20, but APMEX is selling a Silver Eagle for $94.58. You got that, Dan? $17 higher than what COMEX is saying silver is worth. $17 higher. And yeah, 6 months ago, the world thought $40 silver was impossible. Oh, you'll never get there. And the whole way up, the experts keep saying, we're at the top. We're at the top. You should sell. You should sell. You should sell this and go buy Bitcoin. You should sell silver and go buy gold. This is part of the strategic metals, critical minerals, and both commodity and resource war that is happening right now. What do you mean, John? What do you mean a war? Well, if you stop to think about everything it takes, we've heard for a couple years all of this crap about computer chips. Computer chips. We got to get these chip makers out of Taiwan and bring them to America, the United States of America, so we can protect our technology and our access to these computer chip technologies. Meanwhile, China is taking those chips when they can get them, and they're duplicating them and copying them, improving them where they can, et cetera, et cetera. This is the war. This is a resource war. It's a technology war. It's an information war. It's a propaganda war. It's everything but a political war. Silver and gold are money, but silver in particular is the most useful metal on the planet, bar none, for energy, medical, military, period. Battery power now, oh, it's going to get crazy, right? A couple of months ago, China said, hey, look, January 1st, we're going to put export restrictions on silver. China, turns out, doesn't just mine the most silver in the world, more than Mexico, more than Peru, but those are all three right at the top. But China also has all of these companies or countries and mines send their unrefined silver to China because they, of course, refine it into 3.9s and possibly 4.9 fine silver. And so we've got an issue. We've got an issue because China is saying after January 1st, only the largest mints or refineries can export silver back out of China, only after they fill out paperwork saying how much they're going to take and send out, who it's going to, for what purposes it's going out. And they can either deny it or allow it or restrict it, whatever they want. So now it's being speculated that Trump and the American Washington regime are going to do something similar and protect the United States because we, the United States, consume far more silver than we as a nation produce, meaning we have to go outside our country to get silver. And again, the two big places to get it are Mexico and Peru, but also up in Canada and down in Chile and Argentina and Bolivia and a couple other places where mines are. It's more than just silver. It's copper, it's zinc, it's nickel. It's all of the precious metals, palladium and platinum, and there's a lot. There's a huge critical minerals list. We're at this place. We've been watching it get to the point where the countries are going to protect themselves and protect their assets and their control of other countries, other mines. And there's two ways to go about doing business, right? You can threaten a country or you can reward a country. Well, China has weaponized silver. They produce the most solar panels on the planet. I believe 90% of the solar panels on the planet come from China. But India is stepping into the solar panel arena, and they're becoming a major player. The United States does. Samsung in South Korea does. And Samsung is in big trouble, according to AI China guy, saying that Samsung can't get the silver they want. right? They can't, all of these companies like, Tesla, Samsung, right? They cannot get the silver they need off of the COMEX and the London Bullion Market Association, right? The physical delivery, it's just not there. In other words, they've got all of these silver contracts and they claim to have hundreds of millions of ounces of silver, but they actually don't. They could only give Samsung, the largest phone maker, the largest non-Chinese solar panel maker. They can't get the silver. They can only give them 5 million ounces out of the 50 million they wanted. And that's for the first quarter, right, to kick this year off. It's going to get stupid, in other words. It's going to get crazy. And if some country steps out of line, it could start a physical war. As preppers, as Americans, as patriots and people who are aware, we all need to look at what's coming and make sure we have food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, and our plan to understand what's outside that 10-mile radius around you, having CB, world band radio, ham radio, any radio, hand crank or solar power or battery backup, radio, AM, FM, so you can get news and understand what's going on if things get stupid. We've got nothing but trouble, folks, coming our way. Hopefully we keep our jobs. Hopefully we keep our economy going. Hopefully things don't get worse. I mean, we got good stuff coming, right? We've got good stuff coming. What I've been told, what I read is that, well, we've got a gigantic tax refund coming. Whoa. Okay, we'll talk about that more in a bit. Anyways, thank you, Dan. I appreciate the great super chat. And Jolene, let's do another one from the crowd out there. We got 250 plus people live right now. Share the internet address. Share, share, share. Get people here so they can wake up and learn. So much to learn. Prepping is not just stacking food and stacking bullets and building a large, impossible to climb fence around our property. There we go. At the Prepared Mind. Oops. I kind of forgot my banners. Oh, well, we've got, solar panels, radios, communication, all this stuff at the Prepared Mind. .club, right? www.thepreparedmind.club. We have everything there. Everything. Thank you, Jolene, very much for letting me know. I don't pimp out my channel that much. I guess I should do a better job. We've got all kinds of things you need to be prepared for right there at the preparedmind.club. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. We've got, yes, radio communications, solar panel. We don't own a warehouse. It's all click on a button and go buy it from their stores. But it's materials and equipment that we're using right now. Everyone out there, right? It just is what it is. Folks, get prepared, by golly. All right, Jolene, thank you so much. What else do we have? Who wants to step up next? We got Nancy Keg, little sister with a $20 super chat donation. I just like to call her little sister. And she says, just wanted to say have a good new year, Prepared Mind family. And I'll tell you what, Nancy, we're going to have a great new year. Maybe terrible, but great. I really appreciate the donation. I'll tell you what, I'm going to take this opportunity and your $20 super chat and cover this topic. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says, hey, you crazy Americans, you're going to get gigantic tax refunds in 2026. And well, who is the Santa Claus on this? Well, it's Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill Act. That's what the Secretary of the Treasury, Scott Bessent, says. What is a gigantic tax refund? I mean, I'm still waiting for my tariff $5,000 refund. I'm still waiting for that $2,000 stimulus check that I was told was going to happen. And then apparently there's supposed to be some 1776 Patriot checks for what, veterans or active duty or somebody, right? As far as taxes go, I don't want to pay a single fucking penny. since Pam Bimbo BJ Bondi hasn't arrested a single big shot for pedophilia or fraud or theft or extortion or bribery. And then we have all the ass kissing of Israel and funding them, and the World Economic Forum and NATO and funding Ukraine and the European Union. We see it all. I know we do. Americans are seeing all of this. And no one gets arrested. Why should I pay taxes if these Somalis are just going to steal it? Why do they get to have all kinds of money and we, Americans, have to pay the fucking bill? Even if Scott Bessent is telling the truth, and we're going to get a huge tax refund. Well, a refund means you pay taxes first. It still means I'm still going to pay some taxes. I'm just not going to pay as much as I normally would or as much as I might. I don't want to pay any fucking taxes until we start seeing some arrests. But, you know, they'll threaten you and me. They'll come and arrest you and me. They'll censor you and me. They'll shut down our bank accounts. Yes, they will. But these Somalis and Pakistanis and Indians and all of these foreign fucks, right? They screw us over, and the elite, who are, in my opinion, satanic scum, and they hate us all, especially us white Christian male types. I think they've got an exceptionally big hard-on for us. They're not going to make our lives easier. We're not going to make our lives easier, but they're going to promise us, Scott Bessent is, a gigantic tax refund. It's going to have to be like $20,000 to be a good refund for me. I tell you. Wow. Just fucking wow. Okay, Nancy, thank you very much. I wanted to talk about taxes here. We're at the 45-minute plus mark, and we're going to cruise into and do 2 whole hours. It's your channel. Super chat button right up there. I'll get your question, comment, thought, prediction, rant, joke, whatever you got on the screen. Now, the reason that's important, the reason that Sunday Night Live is such a great show, so big, so popular, by the time this video is over, and tonight and a couple more days, thousands of people will have watched it on the Prepared Mind channel, on the Prepared Mind channel 2.0, on X. Right now we're on Uman's X while we're waiting for the other X. We got Facebook and who knows what other social media. You add them all up and it's thousands and thousands of people, and your opinions, your thoughts that you get on the screen into the comment section, those help influence other people and make them think, because it's not like just the guy on the screen. You know, who cares about everything he has to say, right? It's you guys out there, right? It shows them that it's not just me. It's everybody thinking these same thoughts. Everybody thinking these same thoughts. That's why it's so important. Okay. Well, Jolene, let's do it. Let's see. Who else is out there? From Robin. She did $100, I'm guessing, a PayPal super chat last week for Christmas. And I don't remember getting that Christmas scotch. So I'm going to take full advantage of that right now. And thank you, Robin, for that. Okay, there it is. I tell you. Semper Fi, Robin. Thank you for all you do, all your great support, the comments, opinions. And folks, listen, we don't always agree. We don't have to always agree with each other, agree with other people. Hell, sometimes I don't even agree with myself. But it's important to have the conversation, right? How hard is it to have a conversation with someone who always agrees with you? Mother's milk. Anyone can have a conversation where you agree with everyone. Anyone can do that. To have a conversation where you have a difference of opinion and you can share ideas. You can talk about it and go, okay, this part's more important to me and that part more important than you. That makes some sense, doesn't it? That's how we learn, by asking questions, by having a conversation. It's wonderful. I really enjoy this format. For years and years at the beginning of the show, which of course started back in 2013. The Prepared Mind channel started in 2013. Since then, the show has developed. The production quality's gotten better. We got Jolene, who came on board, and then Uman came on board in the R Syndicate, and it's really grown as a show and a format. And I want to thank everyone for participating, joining, telling others. Follow that right up there, internet address. Get here and learn something, damn it. People get prepared. It is wonderful news and good to hear. Thank you, Robin, again, very much for that super chat that came in. Where do we go next? Oh, here we go. Robin says, hey, John, I suggested to my son-in-laws that we should create a tool library so that we don't double purchase items that one of us already has. Tools are getting expensive. This is exactly what we need, is cooperation. So your son-in-laws or sons-in-law, I don't know what the proper way of saying that is. Yeah, find out what they have, what you have, cooperate so you're not doubling up on some purchases and missing other items. Sit down and build your ideal list of the items you need to be prepared. Now, we of course, we cover with some broad painting strokes, food. Well, that includes starches or sugars, if you will, simple sugars like rice, corn, wheat, and then you can add in legumes there, certain types of beans, right? You can have all of that dried, and it's bulk and it's inexpensive. And then you can get into other items like freeze-dried vegetables and fruits that come in cans. And then you got your proteins, powdered eggs, powdered milk, powdered cheese, right? But meat is incredibly important. We are omnivores. We need protein and fat. Butter stores very well. You can get powdered butter. I have a sufficient quantity of powdered butter. But just regular butter. Butter can be stored on a countertop at room temperature for weeks. And guess what doesn't grow on it? Mold, right? So you can have giant blocks of butter. Hell, get some of that government butter, right? And I think when we go through all of this, right, that's why I say Spam and tuna fish, they come in cans. You can eat them anytime you want. Just rotate and add stock to it, right? Get yourself prepared. Also, spices. Spices, right? Have an array of spices, Italian spices, Mexican spices, Oriental spices. I love to say Oriental still, even though some people who are of Asian descent, liberal Asians, like to bitch about the word Oriental. I can still get out, drive 3 miles from here, and guess what I find? A huge supermarket as big as a Publix that says Oriental groceries, and then it's got Asian writing underneath it. Cracks me the fuck up. Cracks me up. They don't give a fuck. They're Oriental. I love it. But have all those spices. Have recipes so you can cook the food. I'm going to tell you this. When I was, at the RMZ in the jungle, food can get pretty boring if you don't have, different foods and things to eat. If we have interruptions in our way of life, power outages, and quite possibly just food shortages or certain food shortages because of, embargoes and sanctions and war, because we get a lot of stuff from China and China gets a lot of stuff from us. If we stop trading, if our trading partners quit working with us, guess what? We're going to have shortages. We're going to have shortages. I need everyone to have food. So if you've got a group like Robin here, sons-in-law or families, and then that also includes your neighbors and other preppers that you're, shall we say, allied with. What I need you to do is talk to them about, foods. Make sure that you have all the foods covered. Water, make sure you have the ability to get water, purify or sanitize that water, make it drinkable, ready for consuming. Someone better learn how to handle and do bathrooms, okay, cat boxes, if you will. But then you got food, water, shelter. Make sure everyone has shelter, and shelter has to be protected, right? Medicines. If you're on prescription medicines, have substitutes if you can, have extras if you can, do all you can, because without medicine, some people can die. Other people just live a more miserable life, less comfortable. So all of these things, solar power, generators, communications gear, right? Radios, all of these things are incredibly important. We used to have a guy come on, Gorilla Comms out of California. He was a communications expert in the military, and then he also worked for the government there. Communications is key and huge. It is key and it is huge. So yes, definitely make a list of everything you need, that you think you need, that you want, etc. And then if you've got a group, say, okay, what do you have? Let's compare. Not so we have a little commune, but so we don't over duplicate some things and not the others. Because again, if we have oil embargoes, that's energy, that's driving, that's cars, that's fuel, that's diesel, that's power production. I know that the United States of America is producing a lot of natural gas and still producing a lot of shale oil, but the drill baby drill, and oil's cheap right now, but everything can change overnight. Energy, electricity, right? This the entire issue with nuclear energy, baseload power, and uranium enrichment, fabrication, all of that has not been settled and played out. And if we see terror attacks, we could see interruptions in not only power, but food, water, government services. We could end up with terror attacks because of these non-American scumbags here. We could see false flag attacks coming from nations that don't like America and the nations that don't like to be criticized, like Ukraine and England. They don't like us criticizing them. And then, well, yeah. And Europe, folks, is becoming a hate-filled zone, an anti-European, anti-white, hate-filled zone where you cannot pray publicly. You can't carry a sign with a religious message unless, of course, you're a Muslim. And then you can have all the signs, singing, blocking traffic, anything you want, screaming, yelling, throwing Korans in people's faces. That's fine. But if you're a Christian, they will arrest your ass. Oh, fuck Europe. Apparently, I'm not going back to Europe anytime soon. Well, that's fine considering how it was. All right. Thank you very much, Robin, for the great super chat donation. And let us continue. Jolene, we're at the 1 hour mark. Woo! 1 hour to go. Who else do we want to put up here? And oh my goodness, it's I Am Marilyn checking in at the end of the year. Good seeing you, Marilyn. $50 super chat. Okay. And she got a great question here about communications. Communications. Okay. Well, number one, we're going to take care of this, Marilyn. And I want to thank you for the great support. And I hope you and the family are all good. Down the hatch, Semper Fi, God bless America. Oh, by the way, speaking of Semper Fi, today I had to go to Lowe's. I was upgrading my water filtration system for protection. And I saw an old timer with a neck brace limping out the door in front of me. And I caught that his hat, he was a veteran. And on the back, it had said MSGT on the back of his cover. And I got done checking out and I walked out the store and I said, how you doing, Master Sergeant? And he turned around and, old timer, Vietnam veteran. And, he had a neck brace on and white beard, white hair. And he looked at me and he says, I'm doing all right there. And I said, how's your neck doing? He says, man, I usually wear this thing at night so that I don't twist my neck and hurt myself. but I was just wearing it today just to kind of give myself a break and help myself out. Anyways, it was good to communicate with another veteran out there. Anyways, I looked at him. I said, "Semper Fi, old man," and he says, "Same to you, buddy." And we went our separate ways. But we're all out here, folks. We're all Americans everywhere. You don't have to be a veteran. You don't have to be an old timer. You just have to be a fucking American. In any event, Marilyn, God bless you and Semper Fi to you. So Marilyn says, what kind of backup communication system should I start with in case the cell phones are down? Cell phones. Oh, they're amazing, aren't they? I mean, here's mine, right? I got Jolene and Uman that messaged me during the show. They're amazing. You have internet access. You have a cell phone. You have the ability to text message or use all these apps for communication. How hard would it be to take down our cell phone network system? Not hard at all. The towers are tall, so they're easy to see. This is America. We have very limited security for our infrastructure. And it wouldn't take much of a ragtag bunch of scumbag terrorists to really take them down. You take down the cell towers and you take down, well, phone communication, internet communications, and all of your apps. They're toast. So how do you start out, right? What system should you start with? My belief system is you start simple. You start with what you know, and then you build on that. So that's why I say having a radio that is a hand crank, battery backup, solar power, whatever you've got, a radio that does AM, FM, and world band radio. Jolene can put the website back up here. Hopefully she can, for the thepreparedmind.club and our selection that we recommend of getting communications. Okay, Midland radios. I would start with a radio. You can't communicate out, but you can gather information. It's the simplest way to get additional information. Okay, start simple, start with what you know. We're all used to radios, especially as older folks. AM, FM radio. World band, it should have a weather band on there as well. So if you live, if you live in Florida or along the Gulf Coast or even the East Coast and you're worried about hurricanes, well, you can get your weather news if cell towers are down. If you're up north and you got snowstorms, blizzards to worry about, again, you get your weather, you get your news, and then world band, you get to hear things from a further circle. The next step that I would get as far as communications goes is walkie-talkies. Walkie-talkie. Keep it simple, things that you know and you can easily learn and understand. The reason is I say, look, here's you in SHTF, a dot, and around you is a circle, a 10-mile radius. That is the world in SHTF or Mad Max or however you want to describe it, where you need to understand what the fuck is going on and how you can be prepared and ready to handle whatever's happening. So a walkie-talkie system, they can be good for half a mile, 1 mile, 5 miles. Some of them claim to be a lot further. But a walkie-talkie system can be done. You can get handhelds. You can have base stations. It's completely advisable to go with a walkie-talkie system so that you and the people around you, kind of like, Robin, she's got her sons-in-law, right? Her family. They need to be able to communicate with each other. They may be on the same street or a couple streets away. So you go from, just having a radio that you can listen to walkie-talkies that allow you to communicate on a very close network. And then the next move up is a CB, Citizens Band, CB radio. When I was younger, in my 20s, very popular. When I was a teen and all the way back to my childhood, CBs are very popular. And you can get cheap or you can get very expensive, but that allows you to reach out further than what you can with a walkie-talkie. If you have something with a little higher output, you can reach further and you can communicate with people outside your 10-mile zone. I remember in California, there were some mountains we could get on. And one of my friends said, hey, we skipped across the Pacific and we're talking to a dude in Australia. So yeah, you can really reach out and talk to people. That's not easy to do. And there's a lot of interference during the day is not as good at night. You can communicate better because you don't have the sun and its radiation messing with us. But so the next step is, so you start with radio, walkie-talkie, CBs, very simple and easy to use. When you go up to ham radios, whether it's a base station or a handheld type unit, it gets more complicated. There's a requirement for you to have a license with the government in order to operate a ham radio. In an emergency, you don't need a license because it's an emergency. But yeah, getting lessons, practicing and learning how to use a ham radio. Again, they go not necessarily with a broadcast up into the atmosphere, but they go to relay stations and they bounce. And that's how ham radios work. It'll send a signal to a tower, and then that goes tower to tower from there. A lot like the cell system, but ham radio towers and radio towers in general have their own solar arrays now and power backup systems that may run off of diesel or propane or some other fuel. But solar has become so affordable and common now that a lot of these ham or repeater stations, they have their own power system in solar. They're not as tall typically as a cell tower, so not many people know where they're at. And they tend to be in more rural areas as opposed to cities where you see cell towers everywhere. Even though you see cell towers all over the country in the rural areas as well as cities. Anyways, I wanted to cover all those things for you. But yeah, start simple. Start with what you know. Radio, walkie-talkie, CB, ham radio. And you can check all of those different options out here. And then you've got the entire internet to do your research. But Midland makes good equipment. There's other brands as well, but a lot of people like to complain. They've got their favorites. Okay, whatever. Oh, goodness. Anyways, great topic. Thank you very much. And Jolene, good to have you in the house. I hope you and your family had a good one. Let's do this. Let's do some more super chats. We're into the second hour. We're at about 300 people live. Down below, be sure and subscribe. It takes 5 minutes after you subscribe before you can comment. Okay, be sure and thumbs up the video. It tells YouTube this is what people want to talk about. And share the internet address so that people know where to go to learn about what the hell is going on, why they need to get prepared, and then, of course, talk about getting prepared. As far as you getting into every nitty-gritty little detail, we have Uman's website. It is the rsyndicate.com. rsyndicate.com is his website, which has links to all the other prepper channels that could teach you canning, gardening, hunting, woodscraft, survival, self-defense, guns, more guns, right? It's a great website. Thank you, Mr. Uman, for doing that. All right, Jolene, let's do it. Do we have some more super chats out there? I think we do. Holy bananas. It's Do Stuff with Nikki. And Nikki's in the house. And you guys are putting the hurt on me tonight, I tell you. Anyways, Nikki, good to hear from you. And I'll be having that scotch. If you ever get back over here into this neck of the woods, you know where this neck of the woods is, or rather neck of the swamp. It'll be good to see you if you ever come on by with the Duke. Semper Fi to you, Nikki. Glad to hear you're okay. These are starting to warm me up quite a bit. Okay. Okay, Nikki. She says, I can do bathrooms. And if you have an iguana problem, Happy New Year all, and I'm sorry I've been out, but I've been moving. I love you bunches, and I'll be back to Nikki soon. Got some hearts in there, and P.S. drink, I need it. Laughing my ass off. Yeah. Oh, I'm glad you moved to the place you want to move to, Nikki. I hope you're doing very well. Again, good to hear from you. And I tell you, folks, all of you that I've met, all of you that I've communicated with, it is incredible what a good bunch of fucking people you are. You know, from Orlando all the way up north to Chin Music out in Texas, to all of our friends in California. Remy Marish sent me a message from fucking Netherlands, you know, and then we always get Bob Hunter. Well, not always, but from time to time he checks in, him and his cat. And, you know, we've got Vincent Boyle there. We've got Steve Conlon, all of them from the UK. We've got Boomer up there in Canada. And then, you know, all the way down in Australia. I still remember there was a gentleman named Peter from Tasmania. We had people during COVID from inside of China sending information out to us. And at one point, we even had some Russians checking in. It was some interesting shit. In any event, Nikki, I want to get into, because Nikki is about my age, about Uman's age, Gen Xer. I want to talk about the generations. The future of our country, the United States of America, the future of freedom, the future of liberty is going to be up to Gen Z. I thought it was going to be up to Gen X, my generation. Well, I'm getting older. Uman's getting older. Nikki's getting older. Everyone's getting older. But Gen Z has now grown up. My kids, when I started this channel, were, 13 and 15. You know, but they are Gen Z. Boomers, my parents, were the children of World War II fighters, warriors, Marines, soldiers, sailors, right? And the boomers were the children of those people that won World War II. And the boomers fought in Korea and then fought in Vietnam. Gen X, my generation, fought in the Gulf Wars and the Middle East Wars. But so did the millennials. The millennials also fought in the later Middle East wars, Afghanistan. But Gen Z, they have looked at the world they live in. We're now no longer in Afghanistan. There is no war where the U.S. military is fighting, shooting, and killing anyone. It could happen in Venezuela pretty quick. It might happen with China and Taiwan. It could happen over in Ukraine if the stupid happens. Right? It could happen. But Gen Z is looking around and going, why the fuck should we fight? Gen Z is looking around going, we can't get jobs. All the diversity, equity, inclusion, we can't get a fair fucking shot. All of these Indians coming into the country and Pakistanis, they're taking all of our jobs. They're working for half of what we would work for. We can't get ahead. We've got no chance at having a decent life. Right? Gen Z are young victims of diversity, equity, and inclusion. They are victims of white genocide that's happening right now. And they know it. From their balls to their bones, Gen Z knows it. They're not lying to themselves. They're not deaf, dumb, and stupid like the fucking boomers. And I'm not making fun of my mom or my dad's. God rest their souls. Dad and stepdad. That's why there's two dads. Like John has two daddies. Anyways, they're not sold on the news, right? My parents, they didn't believe anything unless it came from Tom Brokenjaw or Walter Cronkite, right? These Gen Zers know better. They're not going to listen to the fucking news. They're not going to listen to mainstream media. They're not going to listen to newspapers. They get their own information and they see what's going on and they know what's going on and they're not happy about it. They are pissed off, right? That's it. I mean, years ago, I read a report that school kids of Gen Z, my kids' ages, were becoming very conservative. They're thinking, even in grade school and then high school, very conservative. Despite the TV programming, despite the indoctrination, despite everything. These Gen Z kids are wise. They can sense and tell about the lies that are coming out. They rejected the propaganda. And they'll talk shit at anyone and everyone, and they'll call them out. They are awake all the way. Not all of them, of course, not all of them. But by and large, Gen Z is awake, and it's their lives. They're in their 20s now. And they're like, we don't stand a fucking chance. I don't agree, me personally, with blaming boomers. Boomers could buy a house for $4,500, but they only made a nickel a fucking hour. Whereas these Gen Z kids, they make $20 an hour working at a fucking Starbucks. That is, if they can get a job. Right? Our parents lived on crappy food while they were buying their $4,500, then $45,000 house. Now houses are $450,000. In any event, the way you look at it is, right, they're awake. They see the problems. They don't see that they have a good chance. But boomers, you know, they're going to be checking out here. They're already checking out. They're going to be checking out over the next 10 years. More than likely, just about all of them will be gone. And then it's my generation, Gen X. Come on, John, keep up. Right? And then you got the millennials. But the Gen Z, they have nothing to lose except their lives. If that's all that matters anyway, that's all they've got. They don't stand a snowball's chance at realizing the American dream because of all the fucking Somalis and all of the Palestinians and pro-Palestinians and pro-Hamas and pro-Hezbollah and all these communist fucks that are in the Gen Z and millennial age also. But Gen Z conservatives, they have nothing to lose except to win back freedom. They speak their minds. They point out facts. They argue against lies. They reveal the truths that the government system, you know, is trying to hide. The government system that's been hijacked. And they name the enemies of themselves, their generation, and our nation. And they neither apologize for speaking truths and facts, nor give a shit. And I got to tell you, I really respect that, appreciate it, and admire it. And my son is one of them. Now, others that are famous, like Nick Fuentes, he doesn't give a shit. You can call him a white supremacist, a Nazi, a Hitler. You can call him whatever you want. Anti-Semite, he doesn't give a shit. Why should he? Right? There are several other millennials in this category where they're communicating with people, like, you know, Owen Schroyer, even Gen X. We have our heroes, you know, in our age group that don't give a shit anymore. Tucker Carlson. He says, look, I've done it all. I could die now, you know, but I'm not going to quit. And I'm like, hey, did he take that from me? Anyways, the late Charlie Kirk, I believe he was a millennial. They don't, you know, these people are realizing there's nothing for us if we don't start fighting. And I think the real fight is coming. And it's an information war. It's a psychological war, a propaganda war, on top of the monetary, financial, economic, resource war. And it's going to become a legal and judicial war, followed closely by what I am going to refer to as a new Declaration of Independence and Freedom. Declaration of Independence and Freedom. Because it's not just about being independent. It's about being free. And I think that it's also going to be about the extermination of all the evil characters in our world. I'm not saying all the people that we don't like in America that have snuck in, cheated their way in, lied their way in. I think they will be exiled, deported. But I think the evil characters, they stand a good chance of being removed permanently from the planet. We're going to find out. I mean, it's going to be interesting, I tell you. Anyways, it's your show. It's Sunday Night Live. Folks, we're doing great. We're at, an hour and 20 minutes. We got about 40 minutes left in the show. And as long as you guys want to talk and we got super chats, I'll stay right here. I've got my glass. I've got a little bit left of my coffee. I've got the scotch going to work up here, keeping my brains limber. And, of course, for $100 super chats, I still got this bottle of Kraken. Woo! Coffee-flavored dark rum. Wow, I tell you. Anyways, Happy New Year, folks. Aren't you glad you're a prepper? Oh, yes, the merchandising. All right, Jolene. Hey, it's Remy Marsh from the Netherlands. He says, one silver eagle is about 100 euro into the Netherlands. Wow. Yep. What they have over there, Remy, and correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of European nations have what's called a VAT tax. It's value added tax. So not only, or it's kind of like a sales tax, but they just needed one more way to screw everyone with taxes. So they came up with the VAT, or value added tax. So not only do you pay the spot, right? You pay spot price. What is silver selling for? Then you add the premium. The premium is, well, that helps pay the dealer and pays for everything, right? And shipping and everything else. And then you add the value added tax, the VAT, on top of that. And Remy Marsh is paying 100 euro. Good golly. 1 ounce of silver. And it's just going to go up. I would, at this time, I'd like to make a prediction. I don't know how silver cannot double again right from here. There is such a shortage. Now, what's interesting is in Europe, mostly in India, China, Malaysia, Singapore, right? The Asian nations, or Oriental if you wish, but now European nations are starting to line up to buy silver and gold also. Sure, it would be nice to have some gold coins, but silver on a percentage basis is growing faster than any other investment on the frickin' planet. Any other investment. And it is now the number 3 investment by market capacity on the entire planet, at least by the charts I've seen. There's the bond market, which is that's the big daddy market, the most money, because that funds governments, the bonds. The bond market is the biggest market. But once you get into the private markets, number 1, gold. Number 2, I believe, is Nvidia for market cap. Number 3 is now silver. Cha-ching. It is now beaten, I think, Apple and all of the tech stocks. Google, Apple are now below silver. But silver is still incredibly undervalued. And now Samsung, that's right, Samsung is going to produce their electric battery, solid state silver battery. Each battery cell is going to take, I think, 2/3 of an ounce of silver. And I don't know how many cells. It depends on the size of your vehicle. But let's just say you've got 20 cells in there. Well, that's 15 ounces of silver per vehicle, right? And it's amazing. They'll charge faster if you have the electrical capacity. They'll go twice as far and last twice as long. So instead of 10-year batteries, you got 20. Now your batteries will last as long as the car will hold together. It's not like you're throwing away a new car, or a car that's only 7 years old because the batteries are worn out. In any event, that is going to make even more demand on silver. That's why Samsung is trying to get silver from refineries, from the COMEX, from Shanghai. They're trying to get silver from the mines. They're making deals with mines in Canada and I believe Mexico and down in South America, everywhere they can. But China's doing the same thing. Well, that is going to the mines and securing. They're going to the mines to secure future supply. It is going to be a commodities and resource war. And here's the deal, folks. Silver cannot be replaced. It conducts electricity better than any other material, including gold. It resists corrosion and tarnishing, unlike any other metal. Solar panels, you cannot substitute any other metal except silver. Solid state batteries, silver, that's it. Any other metals don't seem to work. So where silver is critical, it gets used a lot. Microcircuitry in chips, silver, because the amount of, energy it can conduct. digital data. Zeros and ones is energy, and it goes through there. And those chips would heat up and destroy themselves if it wasn't for silver. So anything computer controlled, right, requires the silver. Military munitions require silver. Missiles, bombs, if you will, cruise missiles, hypersonic missiles, silver, because it takes a lot less of it, and weight is critical in getting your military kaboom to where it needs to be. And it's reliable. Silver is something that is going to become much more valuable. Again, back to Samsung. They are now going to start producing their solid state silver batteries for EVs. They're going to start producing them in 2026, and they're going to be going in 2026, 27 electric vehicles. They have to secure a supply of silver. And it'll probably start with premium vehicles, your Teslas, your Mercedes, your BMWs, whoever's doing Jaguar, whoever's doing electric vehicles that are premium. The Chinese electric vehicle premium companies, I don't know their names, they're Chinese, but they're there. China is now the number one producer of EVs on the planet. In China, now that we talked about silver and the silver battery that Samsung has, China has its own solid state silver battery. It uses less silver than Samsung, and commentators from China even have said it's not going to perform as well as the Samsung battery, but it's going to be kind of like in the middle. It'll charge faster, it'll last longer, it just won't be as good. They don't want to use as much silver. They may or may not change their mind on that. But that being said, the silver is getting consumed. So Rami, that silver is going to be worth probably 200 euros, well, as soon as February or March. I am not an economic advisor. I'm not a blah, blah, blah. I have nothing to do. I'm not offering advice or telling you what to buy or not buy. I'm telling you how I see things and think about things and where they are going. Okay, thank you, Rami. I hope all is well over there. Be safe, man. The Bihana. The Bihana has done a $100 super chat through Venmo. So, Uman, Jolene, if you would, keep an eye out for the Bihana's comments. That is a big super chat donation, and I think that means I'm going to be having a Kraken. Woo! Let's do it. While we're waiting on the question, let me pour this off. We're at the hour and a half mark. Kraken right here, folks. It's a two-handed pour. This is a big bottle. It's important to have coffee, by the way, for shit hitting the fan, for hard times. In fact, I wore the shirt. This is my deplorable, www.cafefe.com. That's COF-FEE-FEE.com. And, Hillary called us deplorable. But cafefe.com makes incredible coffee, which I've been drinking. And they're a terrific patriotic company. And I recommend looking them up at www.cafefe.com and having Kraken for your coffee. Oh, there it is. Thank you, Jolene. Here is, you can see it's a very generous shot of Kraken. It hits like a ton of bricks. So not only do you get the rum, but you get the coffee and caffeine. Woo! And there's Cyber Hana. And she says, pick one. I like the 104-year-old vet playing the national anthem at a New York hockey game. And yeah, Cyber Hana did send me the video of a World War II veteran, 104 years old, shows up at the arena. He had like a saxophone clarinet looking instrument. I couldn't figure out what the hell it was he was playing. But they brought him out on the ice, color guard, sat him in his chair, and he got set up. And he started playing the national anthem. 104-year-old World War II veteran had the lung capacity, health, energy, and enthusiasm to do the entire national anthem blowing on this, wind instrument. And it was never heard anything. I've never heard anyone do, the national anthem on a saxophone type instrument. Everyone's familiar with Jimmy Hendrix doing the national anthem, and Ted Nugent's done it, and everyone's done it, right? But with the wind instrument, it was a beautiful thing. The crowd loved it. Crowd went wild. What I'm starting to see and like is there are still World War II veterans that are alive. There's one in England last week that was criticizing his fucking country, and that country deserves it. I'm surprised they didn't come and arrest their World War II English veteran. You know what he says? Let me tell you what he fucking said. He said, I did not fight in World War II so you could give our country, and I'm paraphrasing, give our country away to these foreigners, these illegals, these criminals, right? He was not happy. He's fucking pissed. We did not fight and die so you could give our country away to these foreigners. Unfucking believable. An American veteran, I believe he was a Marine, showed up at a parade a couple of years ago. And he started asking someone for a fucking gun. He wanted to kill the communists that were in the crowd that were heckling him. He was wearing, I think, a Marine Corps red piss cutter on his head, from the Marine Corps League. But he was a World War II vet also. And he's like, we didn't fight. We didn't die. We didn't save the world just so you could be a bunch of fucking commies, just so you could give the country away, just so politicians could steal and lie and screw us over. Anyways, beautiful stuff, Christine. Thank you so much. If you've got another topic, let me know. But I'm gonna, well, that could pop up. But I wanted to let everyone know that people are still, people are driving by Governor Tim Walz's house, still yelling, "Retard!" Now, what I want to point out about this is it's not about using the word retard any more than it is about using the word faggot or dropping any other nasty name or pejorative term, honky nigga. It doesn't matter, right? Spick, chink, all of the bad words. It's not about saying that. It's not about just exercising your free speech. It's not about, oh, by the way, Rudy, I saw that I missed a call from you, man. It's been crazy. Anyways, it's it's not about calling. I said call, remind me I got calls. It's not about calling people names. What we're hearing when people are now expressing, in this case at Tim Walz, calling him a retard, it's a minor expression of a moral outrage. And it's being built and readied for release. All this pressure, all the anger, all this intensity for America and indeed the world is for a return to normalcy and the riddance of parasites and evil. That's what I see this is all about. Calling Tim Walz a retard isn't going to solve anything, but it's an expression. It's a symptom. It's a signal. It's a sign. It's an indicator of all the moral outrage. We fucking had it. We fucking had it with this shit. In fact, this is incredible. This story will accompany this, and I want to add it to Bahana's thing, right? Innocent children tortured by the friends of our Washington, D.C. politicians in Israel. Get this. The United Kingdom police, the UK police, the English police, the London police, Scotland Yard, the police has contacted our FBI because they have Epstein documents. Oh, the UK police. Now understand the UK police are shit. They suck. They're scum. They're arresting Brits. They're arresting the English. They're arresting Scots. They're arresting the Irish. They're arresting Welsh. Any Christians they're arresting if you have an opinion and you say it. Because someone felt uncomfortable. Fuck the UK police. And fuck the UK government. But the police, having gotten multiple black eyes for being fucking scumbags, well, they contacted the FBI to let the United States government know that there's shit too. And I'm not going to argue with that. The UK police told the FBI that they have Epstein documents claiming the British elites were involved in pedophile parties where children were tortured. Pedophile parties where children were tortured. This is so disgusting and infuriating that I have zero mercy for these pedophiles. And that means United States politicians, bankers, corporate, bureaucrats, staffers, all of fucking Washington, D.C., all of New York City, all of these powerful people, they're scum. Because they are either pedophiles that participate in this shit or they are covering for them and protecting them. I mean, pedophile parties. The English are saying they're torturing children. Why are these scumbags torturing children? For fun? As a game? For the supercharged blood, adrenochrome that they drink, right? The children's blood. Remember Hillary and Frazzle Drip? Where someone took a look and said, this is what Hillary did, right? They were tormenting and terrorizing and scaring a child to death. They cut the skin. Time out. Anyone who doesn't want to hear this, please go away for about 30 seconds while I discuss Frazzle Drip. 3, 2, 1, Frazzle Drip. Hillary Clinton. They saw these files allegedly on Scott Wiener's laptop where Hillary and Huma Abedin allegedly, I have to put that in, right? They're accused by some people who said they saw these videos that they were torturing and terrorizing a child and cut the skin off of its face while it was alive so that it got all the adrenaline they could in this child's blood before they sacrificed it ritually so they could drink the blood. I cannot imagine these fucking people. Frazzle Drip Hillary, Obama, and all of them. So I can understand that's why they were torturing children. And the British police have told the FBI they've got information. They're a bunch of sick fuckers, all of these people. And I believe, and again, I hope and I pray that God is going to judge them and see what they've done and shred their souls in some sort of paper shredder for souls and in them forever. That's my hope. I don't know how you can be that bad. There's no way to justify it. There's no way to say that's complete evil. And no one has been arrested. No one has been arrested. They have the reports. They have witness testimony. They have the files. They have videos. They have pictures. They have witnesses. They have everything. And no one's been arrested. Because national security. We don't want to reveal and hurt our national security. No. Children are being tortured. And worse. And these fucking people will arrest nobody. Fuck them. All right, let us continue. Jolene Uman. And by the way, they're both in the house, both monitoring comments, both hanging out. Thank you, Mr. Uman, and thank you, Jolene. Who's next on the Prepared Mind channel on this December 28th, 2025, as we roll into the new year and we start taking a look at what the hell is going on and what we, you and me, us, need to talk about, prepare, and do about it. And I'll say, of course, I'm not going to promote or encourage violence, unlawful, dangerous, illegal behavior. But I'm going to tell you all of those things are coming. Not because I say or you say it needs to happen, but because it's going to happen. And when it does, it's going to get wild. Okay, Jolene, who's up next on the Prepared Mind channel? We got Big Dan the Man checking in. Kapow! Hat trick. Third time we're hearing from Dan tonight with a $5 super chat. And he says this: if our dollar crashed and you have gold and silver, you better have some copper, lead, and brass to protect that gold and silver. 100%. Now, this is something we've talked about for years, and it's worth repeating. It bears repeating. You need food. Without food, in 3 days, if you can even make it 3 days without food, well, your body actually goes into a type of ketosis. But yeah, you get hungry, but you start to wither away very fast. You need food. You need water. You can go days without food. You can't go very long without water before you dehydrate, cramp up, and you're fucking dead. Shelter. You need a place to protect yourself. You need the proper clothing, whether you live in the desert, the mountains, you up in Canada and Europe, or whether you're way down in the tropics, in Central and South. It doesn't matter. You need to have the right clothing. You need to have proper medication. And all of these drinks are finally catching up to me, right? You need to have self-defense. And that's what Big Dan is talking about. You need to have copper, lead, brass, and cold blue steel. You need this, right? It's ammunition and a gun. Right now, if you've got all of those things I just mentioned, all of those, and you have extra cash, well, our cash is being devalued through inflation. The banks, if they fail, they confiscate your wealth because your what we used to call a deposit. They're like, hey, I've got $100, I've got $500, I got $5,000 from my paychecks. I need to deposit that in the bank, and that's my money. You're holding it, bank, and you can invest it and do stuff with it and lend it out because you've got everyone else's money too. And that's how you, the bank, make money. But when I need my money, I get it back. That was a deposit. That's the old system. The new system is this, what we call a deposit is now legally an unsecured loan, meaning you have no claim to that money. You have no collateral from the bank for it. The bank loans you money for a house. If you don't pay, they take your fucking house. The bank lends you money for a car. You don't pay, they take the car. They repossess it. You deposit money in the bank. You go, hey, here, I just moved from town A to town X. Here's $100,000 into the bank for my business. And this is all hypothetical. $100,000. That is not a deposit. It is now a loan. It's an unsecured loan. So if the bank, you say, give me my money back. And the bank's like, we're broke. We're out of business. We're busted. We invested your money like morons. And hey, too bad. It's unsecured. So you have nothing by which you can force the bank to pay you back or make you whole. Consequently, keeping large amounts of money in a fucking bank, if you've got accumulated wealth, if you're fortunate enough, I wish I was that fortunate, but if you're fortunate enough, you can buy gold and silver to protect yourself. And it is liquid. It is not as liquid as cash, meaning easily convertible and used to settle debts. Cash, if your bank is good, right? You go and you say, here's a debit card. Bam! $10,000 transfers in 10 seconds. Well, if you've got gold and silver, it's not quite that fast, but it's yours. It's in your possession. It's in your hand. The bank can't take it. It's yours. The government can't take it. It's yours. It is property. It's yours. So what you do is you take this and you go down to your local coin store and you give it to them and they give you cash back. So it can be liquid very quickly. If it's a large amount, same story. Local coin store or my favorite company, SD Bullion or Miles Franklin or AppMex or JM Bullion. These are all companies that are reputable, been around a while. I like to do business when I've done it with SD Bullion. I recommend them, number one. Number two, Miles Franklin. The reason I say number two for Miles Franklin is they're a little bit slower than SD Bullion. That's the only reason. Now, if you are fortunate enough to have money to buy gold and silver, you better have a gun, as Dan suggests. Because if you do not, someone can come to your house and say, we're here to fuck you. We're going to steal all your shit and there's nothing you can do about it. And they'll take your food, your water. Hell, they'll kick you out of your house. They'll take your clothing, right? They'll take your medicine. They'll take everything you got. And if you've got this, they'll take that as well. Now, I don't recommend telling anyone how much you have. If it's significant quantities, like, 1,000 ounces of silver or 10 ounces of gold, whatever you consider to be a lot, don't tell anyone, right? What I said is the little bit I have is being guarded by military veterans who want to kill people. And I don't mean to say that lightly, right? They are serious about protecting the wealth of their friends and family, etc. Right? So that's great. And what do I pay for that? Zero. Other people may want to charge you something. A vault, say if you were to go to Brinks or Loomis, or if you were to store your gold or silver with SD Bullion or any other company that offers that service, they're going to charge you a percentage of money. But for the everyday regular person, there's a couple ways you can do it, right? If you've got it and you've got small amounts, right? You could put it, we talked about safes, the fake Comet can of cleanser or Comet, right? Any cleaner, anything in your house, anything, food, it doesn't matter. You could hide it inside of that and protect it. There's a lot of different ways. There's this Dirty Man Safe thing. They're not a sponsor of the show, but Minetco 64, they sponsor his show, Dirty Man Safe, where you do midnight gardening and you go out and you bury it in your yard. But you'd better have gold and silver because there's going to come a time. If we get into SHTF and Mad Max, there will come a time where people go house to house and try. The reason I laugh is I'll get to that point too. They're going to try and take people's food and preps and take over their house and their wealth. The reason I'm laughing is because they're all going to fucking die trying. Because just like police, if the police or other law enforcement wanted to confiscate weapons in the United States of America, you got a street, it's 1 mile long. They start on house 1 with 15 cops, 15 law enforcement, 15 Gestapo, it doesn't matter. They get done at house number 1, they go to house number 2. House number 2 heard what happened at house number 1. They meet them at the door with guns, and now there's, instead of 15 people trying to take their shit, now there's only 12. You get to house number 3, and there's going to be about 8 or 7. By the time they get halfway down the block, they're all shot to shit, right? It's not going to happen. Same with marauders. Thinking they're going to get cute and kill people and take their shit, they're going to get shot. This is America. Now, for someone like Steve Conlon or Rami Marsh or George in Australia, you may not have the weapons, but I would recommend, I don't know, if you can't get a gun, quite possibly the bad guys can't. Now it comes down to who's the better samurai, who's the better ninja, right? Who's better with the sharp stick? Do you have a crossbow or a bow and arrow? Do you have some improvised weapons? Right. So when I say means of self-defense, I know in America we talk about guns, but in other countries, a means of self-defense could be bow and arrow, could be a sword, could be a baseball bat with giant nails sticking through it. Get prepared. Protect your wealth. Gold and silver is the top end of wealth. But you've got food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, all those things that you need. Get prepared. I know I went long on that, but a great topic. Thank you, Big Dan. Jolene, who's next on the Prepared Mind? And speaking of boomer, there he is, $20 super chat. He says, I'm a boomer, and the stupid ones are of the psychedelic 60s. Oh, the fucking stinking hippies. I know who we're talking about, boomer. The psychedelic 60s, free love, anti-establishment movement, today's Democrats, communist, socialist pieces of shit like Bill and Hillary Clinton. That's exactly who they are. And then you have the millennial, Gen Z, 24/7 smartphone junkies. Okay. I'm glad we jumped on this because I did talk about the World War II, the greatest generation, the boomers, the Gen Xers, the millennials, and then Gen Z, right? We've got all these different generations. If you're a liberal, smartphone junkie, fucking moron, Gen Z, millennial, in fact, even the Gen Xers that are Democrats, they're fucking retarded. They're stupid. They're insane. And not only that, they've taken the Jim Jones juice. And I read something from a doctor, physician, PhD, doctor, saying the mental problems that they have are being exacerbated by the Jim Jones juice, the vaccine, the mRNA. It's fucking their brains up. I say it's because literally the microclots are getting stuck in the capillaries and portions of their brains are being slowly killed, chewed away. And we know and understand from the Somalis and others like them, the inbred Pakistanis, the inbred Indians, the lower your IQ, the more violent you get, more often, quicker. So these lower IQ people are more dangerous, right? The Democrats, they're fucking stupid, retarded. And they've taken their Jim Jones juice. They've gotten all their boosters. And the stupid ones, the psychedelic 60s people. Drugs are no problem, man. Yeah, take all you want. Hasn't made me stupid. They're all stupid, right? And it's getting worse. These are the people with Trump derangement syndrome. So bad, they can't go 5 seconds without attacking Trump, America, freedom, God, you, me, us. Fuck them. Thank you, Boomer, for the $20 super chat. And brother, stay safe up there. I love Canadians. I do not love Canadian socialists. Woo! At least we're not talking about Justin Turdhole anymore. Wow, that guy was a fucking winner. All right, let's go on. Jolene, who's up next? What do we got? We got Mr. Skylight. Woohoo! And he's checking in with one of his famous quotes. And thank you, sir, for all of the emails over the holidays here and text messages, communication. Hard to keep up, man, but I did my best. And thank you always, all of you folks that communicate with me. And I know that not everyone can or does, but there's a few of you. And it's so hard to keep up with just literally half a dozen people. Anyways, Mr. Skylight, 1999 super chat donation. Here's the quote of the show. Mercy to the guilty is cruelty to the innocent. That quote is from Adam Smith, a great philosopher and patriot. Thank you, Mr. Skylight, for that. Whew. It's so simple, right? Philosophy doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be. It can be complicated. It doesn't have to be. It can be very simple. Mercy to the guilty is negative. It's torture. It's evil to the innocent. Cruelty to the innocent. The guilty don't deserve mercy. They need punishment. They need to be removed. Whether it's deported and exiled, imprisoned, hung till dead. Right? Now, interestingly, they used to have the whole hanging execution. It was hung by the neck until dead. It wasn't hung by the neck, and if you last 30 seconds, you're free. Hung till the neck by dead is the punishment. All right. Thank you, Mr. Skylight. Jolene, where are we going now? Drum roll. Brrr. It is Broke Stacker with a $19.99 super chat donation. He says, can you continue with the reason as to why the elites need the U.S. in endless wars with Russia? They have conservative nationalism in Russia. Not a Putin fanboy, neither am I, but how good is Russia? How good is Russia to its people? How good is Russia about protecting its people, its culture, its laws, its traditions, its sanctity, its sanity? Okay, so I get it. You're not a fanboy. Broke Stacker says, not a fanboy, but imagine if we formed an alliance. Separate them from China and with us, the United States. Interesting topic. So let's start with, can you continue with the reason why the elites need the United States in endless wars with Russia? The elites is the World Economic Forum. The elites is other countries that want to see America used for its military muscle, and our Marines, soldiers, airmen, and sailors put at risk rather than them. Countries like England, countries like Israel, alliances like NATO want America, you and me, to fight their wars. The reason they do that is they don't want to fight them. They don't want to pay them. In fact, they want us to borrow money as a country, the United States government, the Pentagon, the military-industrial complex, so that America borrows money from the elites and their banks to buy those weapons from their munitions company, their bombs, missiles, and rockets, so they make money coming and going, plus interest. That's why they want U.S. endless wars, because it finances them. Now, with respect to why Russia, it is because Russia is a nationalist country. It is conservative, and it is, by and large, Christian. While there are Muslims there, those Muslims are not allowed to get out of line, push their Sharia law bullshit, or anything else. Hey, you want to be a religion of peace? Then you better be fucking peaceful. And that is it. Now, Russia protects its borders. Russia protects its culture. Russia protects its tradition. Russia protects its Eastern Orthodoxy religion. Russia protects everything about itself. It's money. There are no Western banks. There's no English banks. There's no Israeli banks. There's no American banks. There's no other banks. It's Russia only. So you continue and say, imagine if we formed an alliance, the United States government and Russia. Now, you said separate them from China and bring them together with us. That would solve a lot of problems. It would. It would solve a lot of problems. And it appears that that is, well, it's potentially happening. Trump being able to communicate and work with Putin. Putin knows that Trump is essentially an Israeli agent at this point, having taken $250 million from an AIPAC member. I think her name is Miriam Adelson. Right, AIPAC, the America-Israeli, and I call it a political action committee because that's what it is. Russia knows and is fully aware, Putin is fully aware of Trump's ties to the Bank of England, the City of London. They're aware of his ties with the Vatican, with the CIA, Mossad, and Israel, and all that shit. They're aware of it. But can Russia form a working partnership? Not to allow American politics into Russia, but to set up a trade system, a way to cooperate. That would be good. In my opinion, that would be good. I would like to see that. Okay. I would like to see it. Now, the United States of America can also do that with China. But with China, it appears that the United States of America is becoming more confrontational. Now, believe it or not, Russia has something the United States of America needs. Uranium enrichment and fabrication into nuclear fuel for nuclear power plants. We need Russia. Russia has decided not to completely screw us over. At the same time, the United States government put sanctions on Russia, froze almost $500 billion. The number changes in different reports. I see $350 billion, and I see and hear the number $450 billion. It's close to $500 billion in U.S. bonds that Russia bought. Those got froze. The European Union wants to steal that and use it to fund more war against Russia. Russia doesn't want the fight. They want peace. He said so. I actually believe him over the rest of the lying scumbags in Europe. In fact, if you go to Europe, the European Union, members of the European Union that are there from other countries hate the bureaucracy, hate the leadership, Ursula von der Leyen, and they'll literally look right at that bitch and tell her how wrong she is and how bad she is for their country, their culture, their laws, their people, etc., and that they know she's a pile of shit. They need to just fucking get out of the European Union. It is not going to solve problems. It makes problems. It's not going to enrich them or bring them equally. It's going to tear them all down. Fuck the European Union. That's probably the best thing England could have done is get out of it, and they finally did. But they're still acting like a bunch of sack of shits with queer Starmer and the bunch of them. Anyways, we've got a world full of hurt and a world full of problems, folks. We really do. And I don't know how much worse or better it's going to get, whether we're going to go into full-on Mad Max SHTF or we're going to get drugged through the mud, hanging onto a rope with just this light-duty SHTF crap, economic, social, religious, cultural, etc. In fact, while we're on that topic, Jolene, message, while we're on that topic, the Indian government, Mr. Modi, is bitching and pissing and moaning because Trump is cracking down on those Indian fake visas. And he's saying it's a hardship. These Indians are stranded in India because their fake visas aren't being allowed. Well, they're fucking Indians. They're your fucking people, Modi. We don't want them, especially if they got fake visas and bullshit and fake fucking degrees. We don't want them. This is where I am at. Fuck India. Fuck Pakistan. Fuck Somalia. Fuck Yemen. Fuck Israel. Fuck Syria. Fuck Lebanon, Turkey, Ukraine, Iran, North Korea, all of Africa, and all of these countries, all of Europe, unless they nationalize themselves, deport foreigners, fix their problems. In my mind, the stupidity is over. The World Economic Forum and the political classes can all fuck all the way the fuck off, along with their bureaucracy, their tax collectors, their judges, the whole lot of them. I'm done. I really am done. Right? The Somalis, all of those pieces of shit, right? Their scams are now in multiple states, as we discussed earlier. Billions. Okay, Jolene, I see. Billions, and I mean billions of American taxpayer dollars are transferred to these thieving, worthless pieces of Somali shit and these other countries, and they're all being encouraged and promoted by Ilhan Omar and her brother husband. They need exposure. We need fast arrests and immediate deporting if they have citizenship. And if they don't, just kick them the fuck out. I say give them the life. Give them the option of life in prison or denaturalization and exile back to their countries, Somalia and the rest of them. Americans are fucking pissed at the White House. We're pissed at the Attorney General. We're pissed at the FBI because there are no arrests, no justice, no America first. All of these billions of dollars that were exposed, no one's been arrested. No one has stopped it. No one. No one. American outrage is going to explode on the street. Get this. The MS-13 gang member. And in order to be an MS-13 gang member, you've got to murder someone in your own fucking family. Kilmar Abrego Garcia. He is on TikTok making posts. But an activist, left-wing, communist piece of shit judge has told the Department of Homeland Security, you're gagged, you're silenced. While Omar or Kilmar Abrego Garcia is shooting his fucking lips off on TikTok. 100% of American patriots are 98% pissed off beyond imagination. Now, if anyone has built a fire, you need logs. But under that logs, you need tinder. You need kindling. And then all it takes is a spark. That's it. And the fires of justice and freedom are going to burn red hot. And it's going to cleanse the problem. Or you can doubt me, smoke a bowl, sing some hippie fucking songs from the 60s, or play video games like a fucking loser. But I know all of you understand exactly what I'm talking about. You're pissed off. You're up to here with it. But what do? Stay calm, stay cool, watch your six, stay armed, get prepared. All right, let's do this. Let's do this. Uman is a silver update. Silver opened up higher at 80, went up to 82.67, slammed back to 75. Currently at 77, which is basically where it was supposed to open. This is the Asian market, and it's going to be very volatile. We're going to have crazy reactive ups and downs, but all the while, it's going to go up, 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 and up. The COMEX is going to interfere, especially during American markets. JP Morgan now has half their trading desk over in the Asian market, so they can what do they call that? Smurf and spoof and fuck with people and their system until they get kicked out of it. They're going to lie, cheat, and steal all they can. They're going to try and hold the price down. They have gotten out of their shorts, but they're trying to keep the price down. They would love to get back in and short the shit out of things and drop it. Hang tight, hang tough. It's going to get crazy. Absolutely crazy. I'm telling you, folks, it's going to get crazy. Are you prepared for what's coming? Jolene, I know we've gone long. Do we have another super chat out there? Yes, we do. It is Penny B. I'm going to wrap up my night with a nightcap here. I almost put it in my coffee cup again. Woo. Yeah, I'm a little bit crazy dizzy here. There it is, Penny B. I'm going to close the night out with another 18-year single malt scotch. And I'm going to have to retire that bottle and come back with a full one next week. But here we go. She's saying hi, Penny B. I'm taking as a woman. Just saying hi to everyone here and Semper Fi to you. Woohoo! I'm telling you, folks, Happy New Year. It's going to be coming this week. Today is the 28th. All these topics, everything we talked about, it's going to get wild in 2026. Put on your seatbelts. Make sure your powder's dry and your gun is clean. Jolene, did you just send me a message? We got another super chat. Someone else has something. It's Medi with a $5 super chat. It says it's about honor. The Washington, D.C. establishment has none. Until that changes, nothing changes. You are 100% correct, in my opinion. There is no honor among thieves, and Washington, D.C. is full of filthy, backstabbing, treasonous, lying, grifting, extorting, bribing thieves. And there's no honor there. You, me, and everyone else, you have your honor. You have your dignity. If someone said, hey, look, all I need you to do is go kill that person over there. Here's $100,000. You wouldn't do it. You would not take the money. You'd say, no, I don't kill people. That's not my bag. I don't do that. I don't run drugs. I don't kidnap children so that politicians can molest them. Right? That's not how it works. Right? That's not what people do. We don't want that. right? But in DC, everything is for sale, including children. All bad. And yes, you're correct. Until that changes, until we can some way, somehow hold them accountable. And it's coming, folks. It's going to start small, like Lexington and Concord. And once it starts, I don't know if they're going to be able to get the shit back on the horse and stop it. I think once it starts, it's going to snowball into the winds of change. Until then, stay safe, stay prepared, watch your six, and remember, chance favors the prepared mind. Is yours. Semper Fi. God bless America.